Am I the asshole for wanting to reduce my work hours? I, 41F, have been a schoolteacher for 20 years and married to my husband, 40M, for 11 years. We have 2 children together, 7M and 10M. I've always worked. I earn good money in my full-time position, but the stress and workload got the better of me last year. There was no work-life balance. I was teaching during the day, preparing lessons in the evenings and programming, planning on my weekends. On top of this, the distribution of chores always fell to me. Cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, bill paying, getting kids organized for school, running the kids to their after-school sports, doctors, dentists, play dates. Christmas and birthday buying for extended family. The list goes on. He helps if I ask him, but otherwise has no initiative. I had a breakdown last year. It was 6:30 at night and I was trying to juggle dinner, kids' baths and a Zoom meeting I had to attend for work. I was carrying a folder across the kitchen and tripped over a box my husband had left on the floor. Scraped knees and palms, I just lost it. Complete meltdown. I made the decision to take the year off work this year. I had enough leave to cover me at half pay for the entire 12 months, and it has been absolute bliss. It's made me realize I need to have a balance. My mental health has improved out of sight. My school is asking if I want to continue my leave next year. Obviously I do, and I'm just wanting a couple of days per week so I can keep on top of the kids, house and work. Hubby is unhappy though because it means we won't be able to afford what we could before. Things have been a bit tight this year with me being at half pay, but still manageable. He wants me to go back to full time and thinks I'm an asshole for even suggesting it. I'm frustrated because all his brothers' wives are stay-at-home moms. Hubby also has Asperger's syndrome, ADHD, chronic insomnia, which he sees a regular psychologist for. I'm wondering if this is impacting on his inability to empathize. He has changed jobs 11 times in the years I've known him, so I feel like a change in my own circumstances are warranted and achievable. Am I the asshole? Edit. Wow, some interesting responses. Some further clarification. Salary: I earn $120,000 per year full-time. Hubby earns around $85,000. If I step down to part-time, I'll still be earning around $70,000 for a few days per week. We had a ton of disposable cash last year. If I step down, we can still save for things and have a good life. It'll just take us a bit longer. Circumstances: minimal mortgage. Even on leave and receiving half pay, we still had 2-3 holidays this year and I saved enough to pay our car loan off. There's money in the savings accounts even now, just not as much as before. Jobs: I've mentioned in the comments that hubby has changed jobs constantly over the years. He's lost or quit several jobs, been unemployed once, taken pay cuts of 40%, worked minimum wage for commissions he never received. I've been able to hold us together through all the ups and downs. Budgeting: hubby gets $1,000 a month in his everyday account to do what he wishes with. That amount has decreased a little this year but not by much. The only thing that will change is the amount of disposable income. We'll still have it, but not enough for major purchases on a whim. We'll have to save like everyone else. Personality: hubby has a terrific sense of humor. He's kind and goofy, just completely clueless and socially inept. No issues with any other aspects of our everyday life. Stay-at-home mom: a few people questioned the comment I made about my frustration re my SILs. When I first started dating him, he mentioned that all his brothers worked and their wives stayed home. He wanted the same for me and for our future kids if I was open to it. We grew up with both our moms were at home as well. In the end, his income didn't support that, and I was fine with that. I'm happy to work and contribute. But he still wanted his brother's quality of life, the boats, the holidays, the expensive cars, and I now feel like I'm expected to sacrifice my mental health in order to keep up with work, house and family. I can't sustain this. At the end of the day, the only person who can advocate for myself is me. I have a lot of thinking to do. Thanks everyone XXX. No. If you can reduce your working hours, do it. You only live until you are 80 plus, then you are dead. Your husband cannot have it both ways. Housewife or career woman. It's a binary option in my honest opinion. If he wants to afford the things on a dual income, then he needs to step up. Your support at home and mental health is much more valuable than $0 out of 5 assholes. On top of this, the distribution of chores always fell to me. Cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, bill paying, getting kids organized for school, Running the kids to their after-school sports, doctors, dentists, play dates. Christmas and birthday buying for extended family. The list goes on. He helps if I ask him, but otherwise has no initiative. Stop asking and put your foot down. For dinner tell him he cooks or cleans, his pick. Stop buying Christmas and birthday presents. Put that on him, he'll fail, but you can't bust your ass for something like that. Don't let him use his conditions as an excuse. If he can work a job, he can help at home. And if he has insomnia he has plenty of time. Not the asshole. And #X200B. But your real problem is your husband, not your job. On top of this, the distribution of chores always fell to me. Cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, bill paying, getting kids organized for school, running the kids to their after-school sports, doctors, dentists, play dates. Christmas and birthday buying for extended family. The list goes on. He helps if I ask him, but otherwise has no initiative. Yeah, not the asshole. If hubby wants more money, he can either work more or reduce your workload outside of work, so you aren't overwhelmed. Not the asshole. When you're working full-time you're working 2 jobs. You have to have some kind of balance for your own mental health. You get no support from your husband. You shouldn't have to ask for him to help you. It also sounds like he's got some major mental health issues that you're kind of paying the price for. Sit him down and tell him he has to step up to the plate. Take another year of leave and see if he steps up. If he does, then maybe you can think of increasing your hours. If he doesn't, make it permanent. Ball in his court. Going back to what you were doing will kill you. Not the asshole. It's hard to shift the mental load of housework, but write up a list of all the chores, including things like driving the children to their activities as well as in housework. Then ask your husband to select the half that he will do, to enable you to go back to work full-time. It shouldn't take him too long to realize that maybe a reduced timetable for you would be a good idea. Not the asshole. It's important to have a work-life balance and you're not the asshole for wanting one. Your mental health should come first and it seems like the job is impacting that substantially at this point. Also, teachers never get the credit they deserve for all the hours they put in and how hard they work, so just want to say thanks to you for all your years being a teacher. Yet again another chance for me to say, why did you have kids with this selfish loser man? Young women learn from this person's huge error of judgment. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for calling my dad to pick me up and telling him what happened with my mom? My 17 female parents, 35 F per meter, had me young and never married. I usually spend 1 week with my dad and 1 with my mom since they live pretty close and are friendly towards the other. My dad is single now, but my mom has been dating Jerry, 38 M, for the past 8 years. He's amazing not only towards my mom but with me too. He and my dad are friends and I know I can trust them both. My problem is my mom, who never had any issue letting me know that I ruined her life. Sometimes she's an amazing mom, sometimes she's just not, and this was one of those times. The issue happened last Friday. While I was at the shower I felt a small lump on the right side of one of my breasts. I freaked out and thought that if I ignored it it would just disappear. I kept showering and when I went out I got half dressed. I started to inspection myself again and I had the door in front of me. Out of nowhere Jerry opens the door and we both react. I cover myself and he turns around, starts to say sorry, closes the door and leave. I felt bad of course, but I know that Jerry didn't do it with ill intention since the shower wasn't running and I forgot to lock the door. A few hours later Jerry comes into my room and starts to apologize to me. He says that since he saw my door closed he thought I was in my room and that he was in an emergency to get into the bathroom, but that he understood that things will inevitably be weird between us for a while and that it's best for us to tell my mom. I ask him to please don't tell her, but he says that if we keep it a secret it won't look good and that my mom has to know, that he'll give me all the space I want, but we can't and shouldn't keep this between us. I agreed and we both went down and tell my mom. She starts to berate me for flashing to Jerry that she always knew I wanted her man and starts to call me names. Jerry tries to explain to her that it wasn't like that and that it was him who accidentally opened the door. My mom says that he doesn't need to defend me and she says that I have to go to my room without dinner for being oot. I went to my room, but I called my dad to pick me up and explained what happened and that I didn't felt comfortable here, not for Jerry but for my mom. He then tells me to pick more stuff than usual and that he'll be here in no time. After then minutes I go downstairs and my mom and dad are fighting and he's telling her that I won't be back until she apologizes to me. My mom called me an asshole for letting my dad know our personal business, and for lying to him. The next day she called me angry because Jerry dumped her for her reaction. Also, before anyone worries, the lump in my breast was an ingrown hair that I never noticed. My dad took me to the doctor and they ran some tests just to make sure, but everything came clear. Edit. First of all, I want to thank you all for all of your support. I really thought that I did something wrong because my mom is my mom and I want the best for her. I know that she loves Jerry so much. I want to apologize for all of my typos. I was crying when I made the post because I saw a photo of my mom and wanted to see if I was in the wrong or not. Jerry called her out when she called me oot, and only left after my dad picked me up. He lived with us full-time, so I guess he waited for me to be safe. We haven't spoke since then. My dad said that I don't need to be back to my mom's next week and that I can stay here if I want to. I know that my mom's gonna fight him because although he doesn't pay child support, my dad gave her some money monthly in case of an emergency. Jerry used to give her money too. She doesn't have a job or anything. That's why she kept me there despite our bad habits, and I felt that I had to stay because I didn't want her to be alone. She didn't kept it all. I used to get $20 weekly from her. Someone told me that if they go to court I can tell the judge that I want to live with my father and they'll take it into consideration, and that I won't be getting Jerry in a bad spot despite what happened in the bathroom. And #X200B. Not the asshole. Your mom is a mean woman, and you never have to keep it a secret when somebody is treating you poorly. You do not owe her immediate forgiveness, if at all. Do not let her cut you down or bully you. She sounds like she has some toxic issues that she needs to work out on her own, without you around as her punching bag. Also, give your dad a high five. He sounds awesome and has your best interests at heart. Not the asshole. First, I'm glad the lump was nothing serious. Your mom is nuts. It appears that Jerry finally figured that out. Stay with your dad. You don't need to be around her. Hugs. Jerry is a good guy. Imagine a woman berating her own child for an accident like that. Parents are here for the kind of support that your dad gave you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your mom needs therapy, but that's not your problem. You shouldn't feel bad about leaving an abusive environment. Not the asshole. I cannot stand when parents accuse their children of seducing, flashing in this case, or being in any way inappropriate with their partner. It's disgusting behavior. I'm glad you have your dad to depend on. Not the asshole. Your mom chose to blame you for a legitimate accident that was no one's fault, and she chose to do it in the most insulting, hurtful way possible. Jerry was right to leave her. I hope the two of you are at least able to speak long enough to get closure, if not stay in one another's lives, since he and your dad are friends, and your dad handled everything perfectly. I'm glad your lump turned out to be something simple and that you are able to stay with your dad as long as you need to, and an apology is the least your mom owes you. She should also volunteer to go to therapy for her consistently telling you that you ruined her life. Not the asshole. Jerry was right, there should be no secrets between step-dad and mom. That's also true between mom and dad. I have told my son if an adult ever asks you to keep something a secret from your parents, then it is absolutely something young should tell. I'm sorry you went through all that. She always knew I wanted her man. Does that mean she thought you were into him when you were 9? Not the asshole. Am I the asshole told my boss I'm not required to answer my phone 24/7 and now he's salty? I, 37M, work in a department where I'm the sole expert for our equipment. If an issue comes up and the shift crew can't figure it out, I'm the first one they try to contact. I'm happy to help since I'm friends with all of our guys, but these calls can come at late night or early morning and my schedule is 7 a.–4 p. When I go the job, the only stipulation was that they would be able to contact me for stuff like scheduling issues, shift coverage or other issues, but it did not mention anything about after hours on call. Outside of my normal hours, I don't give a rat's ass about the plant. I'll usually answer calls out of my own goodwill, as long as that's not being abused. However, my sleep time is sacred. If I'm woken up, it will take me at least an hour to fall back to sleep if I'm lucky. My phone started going off around 1 a.m. and went off a few times more before my wife gave me a swift kick in the ass telling me to shut it off or answer it. I call back and it's our shift technician, Clayton. He apologized for waking me up, but they've been dealing with an issue for hours, so I help him out and it took all of 5 minutes. After hanging up, I ended up lying there in bed for another 2 hours before falling back asleep. That morning, my supervisor, John, has me meet him in his office and this is how our conversation goes. John. It seems we had an eventful night. Clayton had to get a hold of me. You didn't answer his call? Me. Around 1 a.m. I was asleep and the phone didn't wake me. John. Well, he called me and I wasn't able to do much for him, so I had him call you back. Told him you were probably hard to wake up and to keep calling. Me. A little pissed off now. Well, I'm always happy to help the guys, but they can't rely on me to always be available. I usually keep my phone in the kitchen, but I just happened to have left it on my nightstand last night. John. Well, this isn't the first time they've had trouble reaching you. Me. A bit more agitated. Most likely because my phone was in the kitchen. I don't keep it on me 24/7. John. You're required to have a phone on you. Me. Pissed off. Okay, nowhere in the policy does it dictate that I am to keep on a phone on me at all times, nor does my job description. I am only required to have a method for you to contact me if we have a scheduling change or some other issues that deal directly with my ability to get to work. If you wish for me to be on call, then perhaps we need to discuss promoting me to a position that requires me to be on call, but I am happy with my current arrangement. If you feel differently, then maybe we need to invite HR to join our conversation. That's where things ended. I'm well aware that I could suffer some consequences for this, but I feel that this is an overstep on their part. I do have a good working relationship with everyone, but when he said that, I pretty much snapped at him, and now I'm feeling like an aw. So am I the asshole? ETA. Well, this got way more of a response than I imagined. 1. So I have been keeping notes and saving all communications over the years and have backups of all call logs and text transcripts. This was done due as to keep my ass covered by to now I see it'll come in use. I have a meeting with the head of HR tomorrow, and my plan is to lay enough info to show a pattern of what's going on. 2. On the recommendation of another Redditor, I did send an email to my boss asking him to confirm that I'm expected to keep my phone on me at all times, and he responded, affirmative. Well, that's part of the info package. 3. While they do not pay for my phone, there have been insinuations made by supervisors that since the company provides a corporate discount through the carrier I use, that it justifies them asking us to be available. I don't even use this discount because we can't stack it with other discounts. I have a family plan, and since my mother is on it, we get to use the discount that the county she works for provides, and it's a better discount. Anyway, I will provide an update once things shake out. Thanks everyone. Oh hell no. Not the asshole. He doesn't pay you an on-call fee, so you aren't obliged to answer the phone outside of your working hours. Not the asshole. If he wants you on call 24/7, there needs to be a stipulation in your contract that states you are on call and stipulates an after-hours pay rate with a minimum per call amount. That after-hours rate should also be at least 24x your normal hourly rate. Not the asshole. The line of, "you're required to have a phone on you," is bullshit if you're not salary and or required to be on call at all times. Not the asshole. If they wanted you to be on call, they should pay you to be on call. Probably not the best idea to antagonize the boss, but you're in the right. Turn on Do Not Disturb. It's been a lifesaver for me. Not the asshole. Get this in writing and start keeping a log of calls. In fact, go back and add past calls that have come in after hours. Present this to your management, not just your immediate boss, and ask when you should be expecting to see on-call compensation appear in your pay. If they refuse, consider finding a new job and filing a wage claim with your Department of Labor. You are legally entitled to be paid for time you work, and there are rules about how to pay on-call workers. Not the asshole. I've allowed myself to fall into the same trap. Was raised to make sure I was the go-to person on any job. Your time is your time. You work to support your life, not the other way around. Sounds like he is calling you outside the hours you work there for your expertise. We call this an advisory role. Tell him you will be happy to answer your phone and even come in to lend experience, but only as an expert, working for some reasonable but much higher amount of money, with a minimum of 2 hours paid, even if it only takes 15 minutes. As my dad says, it only costs $7.25 for him to swing the hammer, but for him to be the one swinging it is an additional $30. Edit to add Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for choosing my kids over my wife? 2 of my kids live a few hours away in another state with their mom. I haven't seen them since June 2020 because their mom apparently was following the COVID-19 travel restrictions, and our court case has been backed up and rescheduled so many times that I haven't been able to see the judge to make their mom let me have my visits with them. She's a real bitch to deal with, but anyways she finally gave in and said I could pick them up for the last 3 weeks of summer before they go to school. Problem is my wife had already bought flights for us to go on a trip, and the dates are in the middle of this 3 weeks, and it's also my wife's birthday. I told her I'm sorry, but I just can't go anymore because I want to spend time with my kids that I haven't seen in over a year. I offered to add 2 more flights so they could go with us, but apparently, there's not enough space, because we're going to stay at one of her family members' houses with already limited space. I offered her to go without me but she refused. I told her we can reschedule the trip and she's mad because she already paid the flights and it can't be cancelled or rescheduled. I told her I'll pay her the $450 she's losing and she says that I'm wasting money. My wife thinks I should get them for the 1 week and drop them back off while we go on the trip and then possibly try to get them again for the week 3. Problem with that is 1. Their mom will probably not let me get them again if I drop them off early, and 2. They're so excited to see me and spend time with me, I know they'll be heartbroken if I take them home in the middle of the visit, and also they'll feel left out because they're obviously gonna ask why and I can't lie to them. I just feel like my wife should understand the circumstances and be the bigger person and not try to make me choose between her or them. My wife says she hates me and I'm a fucking asshole. Am I the asshole? Edit to add more information. The mom had no way of knowing about this trip. As far as getting a hotel so the kids would have room to come, I offered that as well and she still wasn't having it because she wants to stay inside her family's home. The state is NY and I saw them in June 2020, so wasn't expecting an immediate visitation right after, but I think maybe late July or August 2020 when I was trying to use my summer weeks to see them is when she started saying no because of travel restrictions. We went to court over it and the judge basically had to side with her because of the governor's travel ban. I'm not sure when travel restrictions started in NY, but I do know that they just ended in March, April 2021, so obviously I wasn't gonna ask the judge anything until after that time, and since then we had 2 court dates rescheduled. In my opinion, the mom was never worried about COVID because COVID really blew up around March, April 2020 and she let me see them in June 2020. My job got shut down also and literally had no income, so I had no way to pay her any child support for temporarily. Then she suddenly was worried about the COVID travel restrictions. I could have went up to see them during this year and change, but the travel restriction required me to come to the state, get tested immediately and then quarantine for so many days before even getting to seeing them. I also have a newborn with my current wife and couldn't expect her to travel or stay alone with the baby for so long. Also, she was out of work from having the baby and me working was the only source of income. I would love to have seen them, but I also couldn't afford to take weeks off from work at that time without being fired. Not the asshole. But have you considered getting a couple of hotel rooms instead? Tell your wife since the limited space won't be enough for all of you. All of you could stay at a hotel nearby and she could visit her family freely, plus look into Airbnb. Maybe you could get something in the neighborhood. You haven't seen your kids for over a year and your wife begrudges you this one opportunity to spend time with them? Over a trip that can be rescheduled and that she won't be out of pocket for because you'll cover it? Not the asshole. Your wife is the asshole, not you. Not the asshole. Please see your children. I can understand your wife being annoyed, but ultimately your children are more important. My wife says she hates me and I'm a fucking asshole. That is very extreme, and not an appropriate reaction to the situation at all. But I'm not going to assume anything about your wife just because they said something while they were angry. Not the asshole. A normal adult would be disappointed but understand. You can visit relatives and travel another time. Your kids come first and you haven't seen them in over a year. Info. Did your ex know that you had a holiday planned with your wife before she said you could take the kids? I can sort of see why your wife might be angry if she thought your ex was using the kids as some kind of weapon to piss her off. Info. Has your wife seen her family at all during the pandemic? Does your ex use your kids in a way that messes with your plans with her? Do you get to travel together, just the 2 of you, often? Have you rescheduled big plans with her in the past for the kids? I'm saying this as someone who's child-free but has 2 stepchildren. Children come first. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Know your wife is a major ASSH. You haven't seen your children in a year and she is getting pissy about a stupid holiday. You have given your wife many options and she has turned them all down. Do not go on holiday, get your kids and have a staycation at home with them. Your wife can have her little temper tantrum, but you need to stay and be with your children.